Hello and welcome back to Love Story Gaming. Hello, Garrus. Why are you so cute? I love you. All right, I am running into a little bit of issue with the actual game itself. I'm getting a cloud error, unable to sync. All right, it says it's up to date, so let's try that again. Because I would like to be able to play anyway. Come on. Come on. I would love to be able to actually play the game. Thank you all for joining me again. Today is a very good day, and I am just having a good time. All right, let's go. We got the air Reaver, bitches. Hey, Elder God, you want to say something to me? You got anything to say here? Little squid bitch. Nope. Oh, you're just being passive aggressive and quiet, aren't you? Hello, Kaljira. Good to see you, baby. Welcome in, welcome in. Bella, how are you, my dear? Hey, Garrus. Hey, buddy. Oh. Let's see Garrus a little bit. Come here, buddy. Wingnut, good to see you, baby. How you been? Tell me why you're having a good day, Wingnut. Hey, Garrus. Hello, baby boy. Hello, baby boy. I'm actually going to work on a new channel point redeem where I get Garrus to jump up on a chair and just hang out. Oh, that's amazing. I love that. What's up, Garrus? You tell him. You tell him, buddy. Hey, guys. Oh, there sure are a lot of shades around, aren't there? Weird. What is my objective even?
For all the butchery of Mobius's crusade, this massacre was somehow more chilling. The killing fields of the Sarafan betrayed a kind of orderly ruthlessness, the cold-blooded righteousness of the true believer.
Oh, that is such a good line. One of the things that I appreciate about Raziel is that he doesn't...
There's another one!
So he venerates the Sarafan at this point.
Here at last, in the flesh, I beheld my former brothers in arms, the warrior priests of the Sarafan Order, their lives devoted solely to the annihilation of the vampire plague. And while I confess I felt a twinge of longing, a pang of grief for what I had believed was my lost virtue, I regarded them now with none of the reverence I formerly felt. For I had seen the human face of the vampires, And now, I beheld the monstrousness of these men.
Okay, this actually has a lot of queer subtext that can be read. Because I can actually relate hard to Raziel with this. Having been a former, really on fire for God Christian, kind of in the church kind of guy, right? Ooh, what happens if I do this? Come on.
Over there!
Oh, that just brings me back to where they were, right? Like, the way Raziel is deconstructing his idea of the Seraphim versus his identity as a vampire,
Free your soul, demon!
really hits home for me as a queer person who grew up in a conservative church. And yeah, I do sometimes feel that telltale sense of longing for what I believe is my lost virtue, but I have also seen the human face of what I am. And it was a journey coming to realize how fucking wrong I was.
Guard me, brothers!
Return to hell!
No.
Oh! Return to hell!
Guard me, brothers!
Alright, I'm actually trying to get an achievement here. There's one.
Guard me, brothers!
Two.
Guard me, brothers!
Three. Alright, that should be an achievement. Killing 3 of those priestesses in a row without being hit.
Free your soul, demon!
Can we get a forfer? We can. Here's just empty honey.
The frozen surface of the lake had
Garrus,
bound the
hush.
gates of the stronghold shut. The Sarafan surely had some other means of entry.
Hey, Gar.
was the
I
only
did some
one
stuff
known
at the
to me.
courthouse that made me very happy.
To infiltrate the fortress, I would need to find some way to release these gates from their icy bonds.
Let's do 5.
Return to hell!
Can we do 6? Oh, we can't do 6. All right. The courthouse, Garrett. Or, Gar.
Your soul, demon!
Oh. I don't want to free my soul demon. Alright, bitch. This is personal now. Bitch! Have you considered not? God damn it.
Return to hell!
Sword. Get your sword!
Seize him!
Alright, there's no... Oh, it's personal now,
Guard
baby.
me, brothers! Guard me, brothers!
Oop, oop.
Guard me, brothers!
Aw, bitch. Alright, let's save the game. Alright, can't open that because the lake is frozen. Where else can I go? I know where the fire shrine is. I just don't want to have to backtrack all the way there. I might have to, though. Alright. Worst case, we're going to Ustenheim. Nate was a conservative. Hello, Moonmad. Good to see you, baby.
Get him!
Alright, so here's some Nate lore. And then after this little lore dump, Gar, I need you, sincerely, after this lore dump, I need you to come up with much better Nate lore facts. Because I could use some revisionism. Yes, so growing up, I grew up in a very, very conservative, like hyper-conservative, well, I don't want to say hyper-conservative, but very conservative Christian household. On a very related note, I am no longer on speaking terms with my parents, and I never will be again. I was, in fact, a conservative. Well, yes, I did grow up in a conservative household. I don't really count that much. Yeah, I don't really count that much because, like, you can grow up in a particular household, right? And when you're little, when you're a kid, hello, Athena, good to see you. When you're a kid, like, you're probably just gonna echo and parrot whatever your parents believe, right? But when I say that I was, like, really conservative and Christian, I believed that being gay was a choice. I was so in the church that I was actually en route to becoming a pastor. That was my original plan, was to become a pastor. I would have been good at it. I would still be good at it. No. It's good to talk about. It's good to talk about. Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. I am ashamed of it, though. Like, sincerely and truly ashamed of what I was. So I knew around the time I was 16, maybe 15 or so, that I was bi. Yes, actually, that's what I found is one of the fastest ways to become an atheist is to read the Bible. So here it is. Terry, come on. So here it is. I was, like, really, I was like conservative good, liberal bad kind of Christian. And it wasn't until I got out of my household at age 21 that any of that changed. Now, here's the thing. I knew from age like 15, 16 that I was bi, because I was a kid with access to the internet and curiosity. Of course, I discovered I was bi, but I was ashamed of that. I hated that. I hated myself, and I hated that part of me. Eventually, it got to the point where, as a teenager, I actually conceptualized my attraction to dudes as either a separate person entirely, or like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of deal. At one point, I even thought it was a literal, not figurative, but literal demon inside me. Oh, Moo Matt, I'm so sorry about that. I also grew up in a household where I was told in no uncertain terms that if I ever was gay, I'd be sent to one of them electrocution camps. And while they didn't use the term electrocution camps, it was understood that I would be sent away. So, of course, I didn't grow up in an environment where I felt like I could be safe to actually talk about it or explore it, because it was vilified, and I thought of myself as a monster. It wasn't until I started deconstructing my religion that any of that actually changed. And for me, my religious deconstruction was, believe it or not, completely academic. It had nothing to do with my queerness. I had already like resigned myself to. So there's this neo-theological concept, very popular in, at least it was for a time. I imagine it's still pretty popular in modern apologetics. So I used to actually do apologetics debates, and then eventually I switched over to debating for the opposing side, and that was hilarious. But anyway, I apologize. I'm kind of rambling. So I started to deconstruct my religion academically. I've always been a critical-minded person. I've always been a critical, examining kind of person. My partners will tell you, the polycule will tell you, it's one of my most annoying traits, is my insistence and capacity for critically analyzing and poking holes in every single thing there is to poke holes in. Am I going the right way? I don't think I am. I know I'm not, actually. The thing is, I had a blind spot for that, and that was my own religion. That was my faith. Well, so at the encouragement of a friend of mine in college, internalizing a Bible verse, I think it's 1 Peter 3:15, which states that you must always have a reason ready. Basically, you must always be ready to defend your faith and give the reason for your belief. And I realized I didn't actually have one of those that wasn't just have faith. For me, it came down to, I had to acknowledge that, and this is not a position I came to on my own. This is a position that was actually shown to me in a not a formal, but like a casual, like friendly debate with a friend of mine in college. Faith is actually a really, really shitty way of determining what's true. You cannot actually reliably get to truth with faith. And if you do, it's completely accidental, because faith can be used to justify any position. I know it won't work, but I want to do it anyway. Faith can be used to justify any position. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, but you know, this was not something I had ever critically reasoned through. But if a Muslim can justify their belief with faith, and a Buddhist can justify their belief with faith, and just honest to God, pick a position. It doesn't even have to be religious. Any position in the entire world, you could say, I believe it on faith, and you have equal veracity with any other position. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Then, so I was going to school initially for physics, and I was and still am a very like critical, sciencey, evidence-based minded person, right? So here it is. I was confronted with this idea that no, I can't actually reliably use faith and use that as a for sure my position is correct, without also acknowledging that anyone holding any other position would be just as justified. Whoopsies, looks like I need a new reason to actually believe, otherwise I'm not following my obligation to 1 Peter 3:15, and also I'm just not being academically honest, am I? So I started seriously turning that critical mind to my faith. And it fell apart. Once faith could no longer be my reason, evidence had to be. So yeah, that went about as well as you'd expect. And I was very quickly confronted with the idea that if I didn't have faith, I didn't have reason to believe. Because there is absolutely no evidence. In fact, every piece of evidence that there is flies in the face of what I was taught to believe. So, I like to think that I am an academically honest person. And I know that there are blind spots in that. Of course there are blind spots in that. Nobody is completely rational and reasonable about everything at all times. But I had to do the best that I could. And if the best that I could was acknowledging that no, I didn't actually have a reason to believe anymore. God damn, this is fucking hard. Come on! You know what? Come on. And bit by bit, I had to acknowledge that the religion that I had been indoctrinated to believe in was just wrong about so many things, just like every of the thing. Wow, I hate this. What's that phrase, right? Extraordinary claims require what? Extraordinary evidence. And basically, the evidence that I received was... Trust me, bro. Just gotta have faith. But no, actually, I can't. See, here's the thing. And this is where I find disagreement with some members of my polycule on this particular point. I don't actually think... Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now with this fucking shit. You fucking kidding me right now? I need the what? I need the Dark Reaver? I just want to go to Ustenheim. Oh no, I can do that. I don't think you can actually choose to believe anything. I think you are either... I think belief is a brain state, and you are either convinced or you're not convinced. And I don't think you really have much control at all, if any, over what convinces you. So at first, God, I did not mean for today to be Nathan deconstruction talk hours, but here we are. So here it is. Little by little, I started to make little compromises. Just little compromises here and there in my belief, right? Like, okay, so of course, Noah's Ark. Like, I actually fucking ran the math on Noah's Ark the best I could. And yeah, that thing wouldn't float. And that's before you put any animals in it. Okay, fine. Noah's Ark. Guys, I know the Epic of Gilgamesh. I know the regional flood stories were fucking everywhere. Okay, so it was a story. It's just a story, right? And okay, fine. So there's no actual evidence. I was actually talking to Lemon Duck about this the other day. We watched Prince of Egypt, which, God, you can pry... I may be a dirty, rotten atheist, but you can pry Prince of Egypt and VeggieTales from my cold, dead fucking hands. Fucking love that shit. It's tied with Kubo and the Two Strings as my absolute favorite animated movie. It is just hauntingly beautiful. God damn, it's so good. Okay, so, but... Okay, fine. So there's not actually any evidence of any kind, archaeological or otherwise, that the Exodus ever happened. Or that the Hebrews were ever en masse enslaved in Egypt. Or that they were ever en masse in Egypt in the first place. Okay, fine, I get it. You know, after Babylon, after like the Babylonian exile, you have a people who is trying to find and determine a cultural identity, and it's a founding origin myth. Okay, fine. That's fine. Whatever, right? Okay, so then what about this story? And what about that story? And one by one, slowly, they all... Did I just... I'm back fucking here? They all just kind of fell apart. And then just basic things started to fall apart. Like, okay, if I acknowledge that the creation myth in the Bible is just that, a creation myth. Wait, what does that mean about original sin? And then there are contradictions in the Gospels, and just slowly but surely, I had to acknowledge that I couldn't believe any of it anymore. It was, in the most literal definition of the word, fucking incredulous to me. And all this while, I am still clinging to my belief about every single bit of it that I can, every single possible scrap of belief that I can still hold on to, I clung to, because this was my entire life. My identity as a strong Christian was central to who I was, and without it, who the fuck am I? I gotta go all the way back here. I just want to go to Ustenheim, baby. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. And ultimately, like, I don't think I have ever cried in my life as hard as the night that I realized I didn't believe in God anymore. Just like full stop, I didn't believe it anymore. I couldn't believe it anymore. And then there for about half a year, I kept trying over and over and over again. I kept trying anything, everything. At that point, I started to really dive into every single argument for God that I could possibly get my hands on, because all of the arguments that I had used in like debates and whatnot, I always knew, in the back of my head, I always knew these are actually not very sound debates. But it doesn't matter, because if it brings people to God, then, you know, we'll figure out the rest later. Oh, not well, but we'll get to that. Not well at all. I don't even know if I'm in the right place. So, I tried my hardest to hold on to my faith. But ultimately, I was faced with a choice. I could continue to, for lack of a better term, pretend to believe so that I felt good, or I could be honest with myself and take the position that I don't believe and I would love to believe. That would be great. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Someone please convince me. I'm not going the right way. I'm not going the right way. Sure, I cannot in good conscience claim to know the motivation for why people do it. Oh my god, I'm right back here again. Oh my god. Ooh, that's a good question, Bella. Am I just not going the correct direction? I know I can get to Janos Aldrin's retreat from here. That's where I'm ultimately trying to go, is to Janos Aldrin. Alright, so I came out of that time streaming device. Alright, I triggered a cutscene over at the thing. You'd think that at this point, Raziel's like, alright, so now I can go up to the area in the mountains. Okay, so I eventually just decided my position is going to be, and I understood that this position is agnostic atheist, which is the position I still hold. So a lot of people think that agnostic and atheist are two separate things, or like one is a graduation of the other, but that's not true at all. They cover two different ideas. So Gnostic versus agnostic is a knowledge claim. It is a, I claim to have this knowledge. All right, so Moonmad, that's yes, what you're describing is a type of atheism, but I like to call it apatheism, apatheism. The sentiment "I don't care" is there's something behind here. Is there a? Yeah, I know there's not. Is not an affirmation of belief. So by definition, it is not theism. But I like to categorize it as its own separate thing to where, yeah, I just don't care. So Gnosticism versus agnosticism. Gnostic is, I claim knowledge of this. I claim that I know this. Whereas agnostic would be, I claim that I don't know this. I do not make a knowledge claim. Theist would be, I believe. Theism is a belief statement. I believe in a deity versus I do not believe in a deity, which was atheism. Now the thing is, atheism is not the belief that there is no God. Atheism is not even a positive claim belief at all. It is a lack of a belief in something. In this case, the lack of belief in a theistic God. Oh, guys, I have no idea where the fuck to go. I would love to go up. Up is a great direction, and I'm a huge fan of Up. Also, fantastic movie. No. Looking up. Okay, so is anti-theism... So anti-theism is a kind of its own different boat. Oh, Moon Mad, we'll watch Up. It's a great movie. Ooh, maybe for a movie night. Alright, looking up. Not seeing anything. So this was the Dark Reaver Temple. I've already done that. It's the first fucking temple I did, actually. Yeah, Up has one of the most, like, emotionally intense openings to a movie. And it's just music. It's just the music. I don't know how the music... Alright, so I emerged from here. So anti-theism is, specifically, I think it's more... I think it's a more aggressive form of... I think it's a more aggressive form of, Gnostic atheism. Oh no, when I say just the music, I mean, like, it accomplishes that with nothing but music. Yeah, I mean that with no dialogue. It does not have any dialogue during that particular segment. So Gnostic atheism, I'll be completely honest with you, as a universal, I don't understand Gnostic atheism as a position. With the exception of specific claims to deities. For example, I am an anti-theist, a Gnostic atheist, when it comes to specifically the Abrahamic God of the Bible. I do not think that it is that God is even possible to exist. Oh, I was having fun doing the shuffle. Yeah, I think the God as described in the Bible is not possible. So for that specific deity, yes, I am Gnostic atheist about it. But for the totality of possibility, fuck if I know. How can I claim knowledge of that? I'm an idiot. Alright, so I think I need to go up there. Oh my god, is there just an air pad over here? There's an air pad over here. Guys, like I said, I'm a fucking idiot. But as I deconstructed my religion, as I realized, okay, I don't actually believe this anymore, I also started to realize that without that fundamental belief, I don't actually have a reason to believe a lot of the things that I believed. So I started critically analyzing everything that belief had supported. And here's where I'm ashamed to say it took me a long time to deconstruct some of those beliefs. Like, even when I was on board and here's where I'm gonna out myself as a terrible fucking queer here. Even when I was on board with, like, gay marriage and stuff, like, yeah, why shouldn't I? Even when I was a believer, even when I was living in my conservative Christian fucking home, right? Guys, can we not? I had an argument, like a really bad argument with my mother when I pointed out, hey, why can't they get married? Well, because it's against God's will, obviously, of course. Okay, but the whole point of the law is that it's not supposed to inflict one religion over the other. Like, religious grounds are not a good reason for a law to deprive somebody of freedom. And then that turned into, oh, so what about murder? You know, I was like, okay, well, that's kind of been a law before it was in the Bible. And it was just, one thing after another in that fucking fight. And here's the thing, that was when I was still a believer. When I stopped being a believer, everything changed. So I was an adult, I was out on my own. I would get into the worst knock down, drag out fucking fights, especially with my mother, about faith and religion and everything. And she made it like her personal mission to rescue me, rescue my soul for God again. Which was fucking great. She thought my atheism was a personal insult to her. She got toasted one day and let it slip that she thought that I was only an atheist to piss her off. I remember there was one time I posted something on, no, it tracks. I posted something on Facebook about how I had gotten somebody to question his faith by just using, will you stop? Just by conversing and using arguments and shit. And how it kind of felt good to, dude, it kind of felt good. That was the last time I ever felt like I was part of that family. Because the fight that ensued was so fucking bad. The fight that ensued was so fucking bad that at the time they were letting me use a vehicle, right? Because I was in college, like half a state away. It's just not the right place.
Return to hell!
No! Oh, now I'm back in the town. I was told to return the vehicle or they would call the police. At the end of that conversation, I got disowned. And it was a stunt. It was a stunt. And then after, about a week later, it was okay, well, we both said things we're not proud of. We're just going to forgive and forget. No, absolutely not. I got disowned. I'll get to that, Bella. I'm still telling my story. Yeah, I got disowned. I'm absolutely the fuck not forgetting that. Like, how the fuck would anyone forget that? And everything was different after that. There were still fights, because of course there were. There were still arguments, blah, 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 but eventually it just got to the point where every fight, every argument, every debate, everything ended the same. Which was, it would reach a point where they couldn't argue, or mostly, again, it was mostly my mother, couldn't argue against the points I was making, so it would turn into shouting and crying and screaming and, appeals to emotion and blah, 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 which...
After my long journey, I finally stood on the threshold of enlightenment. For here was Janos Audrin's mountain retreat, intact and unblemished. The upheaval that would one day topple this ancient edifice had not yet occurred. And while I had no certainty that Janos still lived, this scene boded well, for I presumed that the collapse of the retreat must have followed the ancient vampire's demise. There was only one obstacle: how to reach the balcony suspended at that maddening height, so far beyond my reach. For this was the architecture of winged creatures. The tattered ruins of my wings were of no use. I would need to devise some other means into that mountain.
Cool. So, and here's the thing. I don't want to be that guy who's like, yeah, I was right and everybody else is wrong, blah, blah, blah. Look, I was fresh on my atheism kick. I was a little shit. There is no way around it. I was a little shit. Like, I thought I had figured everything out. That I was fucking, you know, once I like embraced being an atheist, I didn't just embrace being an atheist, I was a dick about it. There's no way around it. And I am ashamed of that. I am sincerely ashamed of that. Yeah, there for a hot second I was. But more than that, I was just an asshole. I didn't actually, like, consider that anyone who believed had genuinely good reasons for believing. And that, I am fucking Oh, hi, buddy. And I am genuinely ashamed that I was that close-minded. Thing is, when I was a Christian, I actually feel like I was probably a little more open-minded than when I first started being an atheist. And yeah, that was a fucking thing to get over right there. Like, shit, I was literally that actually guy. Like, shit, I am fucking ashamed of. Fuck. Can you zap me from up there? From up here? No? Okay. So, yeah, I will acknowledge that I was an asshole. Which is not to excuse anyone else for also being an asshole. But I was absolutely an asshole when I first started out with my atheism, and I really, really, really regret that. Because the thing is, I have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. I genuinely don't. I just know what I don't believe about it. And you know, actually, no, I'm not going to say that I don't know what I'm talking about, because there are, I would venture to say that I and most, like, educated atheists probably know more about theology and the Bible than your average, just off the street Christian guy. I could be wrong, but I know a shit ton about the Bible. I know a shit ton about theology. But I still have no idea what the actual answers are. I just have a really good idea of what they're not. So, how does that relate to my bisexuality? Good question, hypothetical me. So, the big thing is, wow. So, the big thing is, even when I had started to deconstruct the ideas that were built on my belief, on my faith, even when I started deconstructing those, I am ashamed to admit that it took me a lot longer than it should have to just accept, like, for example, for a long time, even as somebody who was openly out bisexual. For the longest time, I did not acknowledge that non-binary was a valid identity. And I had all kinds of rationalizations and justifications and, you know, well-reasoned arguments. But, like, at the end of the day, those arguments were basically just boiled down to, I understand your experience and your identity better than you do. I am happy to report that I have gotten the fuck over that. But it took me a lot longer than it should have. And a lot of that was I was still dealing with carrying a lot of those mores and attitudes and everything that I had picked up from... You know, I don't even remember, Gar. I really don't. I think, honestly, it was just exposure to non-binary people. I think it was the understanding that, hey, my understanding is not universal.